Karin walks through a rocky cave while streaming her dungeon raid. She is frustrated because her subscriber count is stagnant and her number of concurrent viewers will not grow. Karin checks her phone and sees that she has 0 viewers watching. She lets out a heavy sigh and groans in disappointment. She is a dungeon streamer named Karin Yamada. Dungeons are massive, dangerous labyrinths filled with monsters. They offer valuable resources and allow explorers to gain levels and skills that go beyond the laws of science. These dungeons first appeared all over the world decades ago. One major event was the sudden emergence of the Shibuya dungeon in the middle of the city. The initial connection to this other dimension caused global chaos. Now people have returned to living peaceful, everyday lives despite the existence of the dungeons. Exploring dungeons has turned into a respected profession. The state now manages these locations and has established specific laws to regulate exploration. An exploration team encounters a massive bear which is the boss of the upper layer. They prepare for the incoming attack. The bear roars and lunges at the armored explorer who reels back from the force of the beast. The team's mage fires a magic blast from her staff. One of the other explorers shouts for her to watch her aim so she doesn't hit him. The team lands a finishing blow on the bear's head. Successfully defeating this monster allows the group to move on to the middle layer of the dungeon. The bear collapses and dies. The exploration team celebrates their hard-earned victory. The team is thrilled to see their viewer count hit 900. They thank their audience and ask everyone to subscribe to their channel. People on the street watch the stream on their phones. They are impressed by the team's ability to clear the upper layer and express their support. Dungeon streaming has grown into a wildly popular genre. Countless people spend their time watching various explorers navigate the labyrinth. A man looks for a new stream to watch and notices a different broadcast. He stops in his tracks wondering what kind of stream he has just discovered as Karin continues her walk through the cave. The man watching the stream is surprised to see a frilly dress being worn inside a dangerous dungeon. Karin walks through the cave worried she will never catch up to the person she admires. Her mood shifts instantly when her viewer count jumps to 1 and she is thrilled to finally have an audience. Karin introduces herself to the new viewer as 16-year-old Karin Yamada. A small camera drone follows her as she performs for the stream. Karin explains that her channel's core concept is elegant dungeon conquest. She gives a friendly greeting and welcomes the viewer to her broadcast. The man on the street is terrified for her, believing a high schooler in that outfit is going to get killed. Karin is determined to turn her new viewers into regular fans as she proceeds into the lower layers of the dungeon. The ground begins to rumble and Karin smiles. She believes the timing for a monster encounter is perfect for her stream. A massive rock tarantula, the toughest beast of the lower layer, emerges to attack. The man watching on his phone is certain that Karin is about to die. Karin ignores the monster's size and lands a powerful punch directly against the beast. The sheer force of the strike shatters the rock spider into fragments. Karin remains standing as the monster is completely destroyed. The defeated monster groans as its body crumbles. The viewers watching the broadcast are stunned by the display of strength. Karin tells her audience she wants to show them something more and prepares for another move. The man watching is confused by what she plans to do next. Karin delivers a devastating flying punch that obliterates the target. The viewer questions if this brutal fighting style can really be considered an elegant battle. Karin poses victoriously as pieces of the monster fall around her. She celebrates the successful kill for her audience. The remains of the monster roll across the floor and disappear into a puff of smoke. Karin asks her viewers how they liked her performance. She feels she did a good job, though she admits to feeling a bit of guilt about the fight. The man taps on his phone screen to write a comment. His friend looks over his shoulder as they watch the stream together. Karin notices the first comment of her stream. She is filled with excitement and feels the need to provide a witty response to her viewer. The viewer's comment appears on the screen questioning if the broadcast is just another fake video. The commenter criticizes the quality of the stream, telling Karin she should do a better job if she plans to fake it. Karin reads through more harsh messages, calling her setup ridiculous. The viewers find the floating camera perspective and her fighting in a dress with bare hands to be completely unbelievable. Karin desperately tries to explain that her video is real and that her camera is simply a high-quality prize she won. Despite her efforts, her viewer count drops back down to 0. Karin screams in despair as she loses her audience. She is overwhelmed by the rejection and the fact that no one believes her. Karin collapses onto the dungeon floor. In an era where fake videos are easily made with AI, her genuine conquests are dismissed as jokes. The men on the street walk away, deciding to go to an arcade instead of watching her. Karin sits alone in the cave, wondering how she can prove her legitimacy to the world. She realizes the skepticism is exactly why her subscriber count will not grow. Karin stands and looks down at her frilly outfit. She wonders if her choice of clothing is the main obstacle to her success. Karin quickly dismisses the idea of changing her concept. She reminds herself that her goal isn't just popularity, and rethinking her identity would defeat her true purpose. A young Karin sits alone in a dark room. She is huddled on the floor while watching a bright television screen. She stares intently at the broadcast, completely absorbed by the person on the screen. Karin remembers the elegant explorer she admired from a dungeon livestream. This woman represents everything Karin wants to become. Karin recalls the great Setsuna Kuryuin who fought with grace and gave energy to everyone who watched her. Karin is determined to follow in her footsteps and conduct her own elegant battle. As a lonely and hungry elementary schooler, Karin found the inspiration and courage she needed to move forward from watching her idol. Driven by that memory, Karin pushes through her current struggles in the dungeon with intense determination. She has spent every day risking her life to conquer dungeons, grinding for experience points, and honing her skills relentlessly to reach her current level of strength. Despite a year of consistent effort, Karin reflects on the fact that her channel still only has 3 subscribers. Seeing her viewer count remain at 0, Karin feels discouraged and wonders if she is truly suited for streaming. She decides to end the broadcast for the day. Karin signs off from her lower layer conquest stream and prepares to leave to find some food. She sighs, feeling foolish for performing when no one was actually watching her. She checks her device to ensure the stream is properly shut off. She continues her walk through the cavern, feeling that it wouldn't matter even if she made a mistake since her audience was non-existent. On an anonymous internet forum called T-Channel, a new topic of conversation begins to trend. Anonymous users start posting about a specific individual, calling his recent actions insane. The forum members discuss an infamous nuisance streamer named Shadow Wolf, who's reportedly planning something that crosses the line of acceptable behavior. A monster inside a cave roars as it is suddenly confronted by an attacker. The attacker, Shadow Wolf, swiftly decapitates the creature with a bladed weapon. Shadow Wolf addresses his viewers and asks if they want to see him do something unprecedented, the literal destruction of a dungeon. He holds up a glowing stone and tells his large audience that he is finally ready to pull off his plan. Holding a massive explosion stone, the infamous dungeon streamer Shadow Wolf announces his live stream event to blow up a wall in the lower layer of the dungeon. People on their commutes and at home discuss the explosion stone Jiro is using. They recall government warnings about the item's power and its tendency to attract monsters with its scent. They wonder if he is just chasing views with another controversy. Jiro's live stream reaches over 3,800 viewers. The chat is filled with people calling him unhinged and predicting his imminent arrest for his reckless behavior. Online observers note that the situation is extremely dangerous. They worry about the consequences if he fails to use the stone correctly in such a restricted area. A misuse of the stone could release a scent that drives monsters into a frenzy. This would lead to a swarm covering the entire layer and the potential deaths of many explorers in the vicinity. Deep in the dungeon, Jiro laughs off the forum comments as nonsense. He insults the people who dive into the lower layers without proper planning while he sits by a campfire with his stone. He becomes agitated over his dropping subscriber count and yells at his camera. He rants about how only the powerful get to do what they want and expresses frustration at the idea of being stopped. Karin wanders nearby and hears the loud shouting. She watches from a distance, looking skeptical as Jiro continues his theatrical performance for his phone while recording his stream. Jiro boasts about his past achievements, claiming to be the great Saiga Shadow Wolf who conquered the lower layer alone at age 24. He demands that people stop calling him his derogatory nickname. He shows off the explosion stone again, claiming its power will provide easy knockouts for any opponent he faces. Karin watches in shock as Jiro prepares to throw the stone into a nearby campfire to ignite it. She realizes the extreme danger of using such an item in this location. Ignoring the desperate pleas from his viewers to stop, Jiro winds up his throw. He is determined to prove to his haters that he has the guts to go through with his plan. He shouts for everyone to watch him as he begins to hurl the dangerous stone toward the open flames of the campfire. Karin suddenly intervenes with a forceful kick to Jiro's head. She shouts at him, demanding to know what he thinks he is doing with such a dangerous object. The blow lands squarely on his face, cutting off his laughter and catching him completely off guard. The force of the kick launches Jiro backward through the air. He is sent flying away from the campfire, stopping his plan instantly. Karin yells at the man, questioning his sanity for trying to use an explosion stone in the lower layer. She tells him how dangerous his actions were as he lies on the ground coughing. The man looks shocked and demands to know who Karin is. He is completely caught off guard by her sudden appearance and where she came from. Ignoring his questions, Karin strikes the man again. She tells him that she does not care about his identity after what he almost did. Karin continues to hit the man repeatedly while lecturing him for being an adult acting so stupidly. He tries to complain about her sneak attack, but she keeps up her assault. Karin lands a final heavy blow that sends the man reeling. She scolds him for being so reckless and asks if he feels any guilt toward his mother for risking his life this way. The man is knocked completely unconscious. Karin stops her attack and looks surprised, realizing she may have gone too far when she only meant to stop him. Karin stands over the unconscious man and reflects on how weak he was for being in the lower layer. She remains confused why anyone would do something so foolish just for social media clout. Panicking that she might have overdone it, Karin assumes the man must be a lost explorer from the middle layer. She hoisted him onto her shoulder and runs as fast as she can toward the dungeon entrance. Karin reaches the exit and presents the bruised, bandaged man to the guard. She tells them that she found a lost wanderer who was acting erratically. Karin tries to explain that she beat the man up to stop him from using an explosion stone, but the guards are skeptical. They suggest she might be the one with the problem, and assume the man was attacked by a monster instead while an ambulance arrives to take him away. Karin is taken to the hospital along with the man she hit. After an examination, the doctor finds her to be frighteningly healthy and asks if he can use her as a medical sample for a healthy 16-year-old girl. Karin returns to her house at night feeling confused by the doctor's diagnosis. She manages to get home without any further trouble. While relaxing in a bubble bath, Karin thinks over the day's events. She decides that since she is not being punished for the fight, everything turned out fine. Karin sits down for a meal of rice and pickles. She feels glad that her outburst happened after her stream ended, worrying that her rough behavior and crude language would have ruined her elegant online image. Exhausted from the day, Karin climbs into bed. She comforts herself with the fact that she had 0 viewers anyway, meaning no one saw her lose her cool, and falls asleep. Online forums explode with the news that the infamous Shadow Wolf was completely defeated by a mysterious woman. Breaking news headlines continue to broadcast the story of Shadow Wolf's public embarrassment. The internet erupts in laughter as the dungeon streamer's total destruction becomes a trending topic. Users find Karin's lecture about the pain of childbirth hilarious. They note that the view count for the clip has become insanely high. Shadow Wolf's surviving camera captured the entire failed explosion stunt and the beating that followed. Tens of thousands of people watch the footage as it spreads across the web, making the unknown girl in the dress a viral sensation. Since Karin never properly turned off her own stream, viewers quickly identify her channel. Her subscriber count begins an explosive climb from a few thousand to nearly 20,000 in moments. This marks the beginning of a path toward a future she hasn't yet realized. She is on track to become a legendary streamer who eventually saves the world. Karin remains sound asleep in her bed, totally unaware of the massive stir she has caused online. The next morning, Karin wakes up with a yawn, still completely oblivious to her sudden fame. She suddenly panics upon realizing her alarm never went off because her phone was powered down. She realizes she has completely overslept. Karin rushes out of the house in her school uniform. She remembers turning her phone off the previous day because the constant loud notification sounds were annoying her while she was trying to help the man she knocked out. While walking toward the train station, she decides she needs to turn her phone back on. As soon as it powers up, she sees a call coming in from Mafuyu. Karin answers the phone while walking through the station. Her friend expresses relief that she finally answered her call. Her classmate Sasaki Mafuyu tells Karin that she is currently in a crazy situation and offers her congratulations. Mafuyu asks Karin if she really hasn't checked the internet yet. Karin admits she's been too preoccupied to look at her phone while walking through her neighborhood. Karin explains that she went straight to sleep after returning from the dungeon the previous day. Mafuyu notes that she suspected something was wrong since Karin hadn't called despite the massive stir she caused online. Mafuyu tells Karin to check her phone's home screen immediately. Karin looks down at her device as it begins beeping uncontrollably with a constant stream of new notifications. A notification from the social media app Tsubayator shows that over 1,200 people have just followed her account in a single burst. Another alert pops up indicating that 500 people have already liked her most recent post. The notifications continue to stack up, showing thousands of additional people interacting with her profile every second. Karin panics and asks if the social media app is broken. Mafuyu tells her it is working perfectly and urges her to check her actual account, which now shows over 300,000 followers. The follower count on her profile has reached a staggering 302,006 people. Karin stares at the screen in complete shock as she tries to process the massive number of followers she gained overnight. Reality hits Karin all at once and she screams out in the middle of the street while accidentally dropping her bag. Mafuyu explains that the man Karin defeated was a famous streamer who was broadcasting live at the time. The entire world saw Karin stop his outrageous behavior through his own camera. Because Karin's own stream never cut off, viewers were able to identify her channel instantly. She has gone completely viral and is receiving massive amounts of praise from users everywhere. Karin asks if this is actually real as she continues to scroll through her phone. Mafuyu confirms it is happening and tells Karin that she is currently the #1 trending topic. Karin looks at the trends list and sees her own name in the top spot with nearly 400,000 mentions. Stunned by her sudden rise to fame, Karin opens her video sharing app to see the impact on her channel's stats. Karin checks her video sharing app and sees that her channel subscribers have skyrocketed to over 400,000. She stares at the massive number in total disbelief, unable to fathom that she reached 400,000 subscribers in a single night. Karin reflects on the fact that her channel had only 3 subscribers the day before, and now, she rivals the numbers of top-tier dungeon streamers. In her mind, the sudden influx of 400,000 fans feels like a massive tsunami crashing down on her, leaving her brain unable to keep up with the scale of it. Karin feels as though she is drowning in her new fame, questioning if this is all an elaborate prank or just a dream. Mafuyu tells Karin over the phone to simply accept the situation and be happy about her sudden success. Mafuyu adds that all the hard work Karin has been putting in as a streamer is finally being recognized by the world. Tears of joy fill Karin's eyes as she thanks Mafuyu and realizes that while this happened suddenly, she has made a huge leap toward her goal. Karin imagines herself as a graceful and elegant lady streamer, deciding that it is perfectly fine to be a little happy about her progress. She looks back at the trending topics and notices a second trend listed right below her own name that catches her attention. Mafuyu clarifies that the entire incident from the previous day was caught on camera and broadcast to everyone. Karin taps on a trending video titled "Punk Lady" that already has hundreds of thousands of interactions. The video plays back the footage of Karin screaming insults at the streamer about his brain and his mother, while she was beating him up. Karin is horrified to see that the clip of her acting completely unladylike has already surpassed 1 million views. She screams in embarrassment as she watches the compilation of her crude language and the brutal way she wrecked Keidru. Karin screams for Mafuyu as news of her viral video spreads through the school like wildfire. Students recognize Karin from the footage as she sprints through the hallway shouting in frustration over her sudden notoriety. Karin clings to Mafuyu and begs for a way to undo the situation, but Mafuyu explains that it doesn't work that way. Mafuyu tells Karin that once something is on the net it's impossible to take back, while Karin frets over her rough language in the video. Her classmates surround her and praise her for the video, asking her to scold them as well, while Karin shouts for them to leave her alone. Karin hides her face at her desk and laments the price of going viral after trying so hard to keep her channel a secret from everyone but Mafuyu. Karin panics about getting arrested or losing her license, but Mafuyu assures her that the video evidence proves she was in the right and the internet is full of praise. Mafuyu shows Karin the comments on her phone to prove there is no backlash and tells her to worry about her next move instead. Mafuyu explains that most of her new viewers are just curious onlookers, so Karin needs to work hard to turn them into real fans. Mafuyu warns that if Karin lets her guard down now, people will forget about her in a few months, and things will just go back to normal. Mafuyu suggests that Karin should do a quick casual stream right away to keep the momentum going. Karin is shocked to hear that some people suspect the video was staged by a company, and Mafuyu tells her she needs to act before misinformation spreads. Mafuyu tells Karin that she should come out and speak for herself to clear the air. Karin feels relieved after talking to her friend and is glad she reached out to Mafuyu for help. Karin resolves to stream as much as possible and make the most of this chance to get her dream back on track. Karin declares that she will win over loyal fans by showing her true elegant self starting right after school. Mafuyu watches as Karin celebrates her new resolution with a fist pump. Mafuyu warns that trying to act elegant might turn the stream into an even bigger mess, though she figures the subscriber count will increase regardless. Karin huffs in response to her friend's skepticism. Back at home, Karin prepares to go live but finds herself trembling with nerves. She admits that she gets ridiculously anxious when it actually comes time to start. Karin finishes arranging her streaming room and prepares notes to keep her conversation on track. She checks the room one last time to make sure her debut environment is perfect. Her desk is set up with a microphone, speakers, and several handmade stuffed toys that match her persona. A cup of tea sits ready for the start of her session. Karin wonders how many people will actually show up to watch her live. She guesses that maybe 1,000 to 3,000 viewers might tune in. She realizes it is already time to begin and takes several deep breaths to steady herself. Her hand shakes as she reaches for the computer mouse to start the broadcast. Karin clicks the mouse and officially starts the live stream on her channel. The video feed activates, showing her dressed in her elegant explorer outfit. Karin waves to the camera and introduces herself as the Lady Explorer Karin Yamada. She attempts to maintain a graceful and casual tone for her new audience. The chat immediately explodes with thousands of comments from viewers who recognize her from the viral video. They excitedly call her the Lady of Justice and the thug-slaying lady. Overwhelmed by the speed of the chat, Karin accidentally lets out an undignified sound of shock. The viewers immediately mock her for making a sound that a lady shouldn't make. Chat continues to scroll by at a blistering pace as viewers claim her true colors are showing. Karin stares at the screen completely flustered by the intensity of the crowd. Karin wonders if the audience is using a comment spam tool because she has no idea how to handle the massive volume of messages. She breaks into a sweat as she loses control of the situation. She notices the concurrent viewer count has already climbed past 11,000 people. The sheer scale of the audience leaves her in a state of total shock. Karin panics knowing that freezing up now would be a total broadcast disaster. She decides to try her greeting one more time while desperately hoping the viewer count is just a glitch. Karin attempts her introduction a second time, presenting herself as the elegant dungeon exploring streamer Karin Yamada. The live chat mocks her for being too nervous and notes that she even got her own name wrong during the greeting. Karin panics as she realizes her script has disappeared while the concurrent viewer count climbs toward 14,000 people. Viewers ask if she really defeated the Shadow Wolf alone, leaving Karin struggling to find the right words to respond. Karin clarifies to the audience that she did not kill her opponent and only stopped him from using an explosive flame stone. She explains that after knocking the man out, she ensured he was escorted out and ended up being taken to the hospital in an ambulance with him. Karin provides an update after contacting the hospital, stating that the man is conscious and his life is not in danger. She admits to going a bit overboard and mentions that the man-lord Shadow Wolf refused to take her apology call. Karin expresses deep regret for misjudging her own power while the chat labels the defeated man as pathetic and prideful. The comment section becomes hostile as one viewer asks if it would have been better if the man had just died. Karin watches the screen and notices that the atmosphere in the comments is becoming increasingly tense and aggressive. She asks the viewers to keep the conversation refined and requests that they stop using unrefined words like vomit. The audience agrees to choose their words more carefully after noticing that Karin is getting nervous about the chat's behavior. The chat adopts a mock-elegant style, referring to the defeated man as Sir Vomit and using more formal language to please Karin. Karin is shocked to see the concurrent viewer count surpass 30,000 people, but feels relieved that the audience is cooperating. The viewers flood the chat with congratulations on Karin's trending status and joke about how quickly she took down Sir Vomit. Karin feels deeply moved by the massive response to her words, especially compared to her past when no one was watching her streams. The live stream continues with Karin answering a steady stream of questions while she wonders how much larger the audience will grow. Karin desperately asks the viewers to forget about her earlier comments regarding the pain of childbirth after a fan brings it up. She argues that anyone would have acted the same way in an emergency, while the chat notes that her true self seems to be coming out. Karin addresses the many questions about her choice of a dress for dungeon diving, confirming to the skeptical audience that the outfit is the real deal. She expresses her genuine happiness at being asked about the inspiration behind her unique clothing choice. Karin explains that she was utterly captivated as a child by an anime called Dungeon Alive, which many viewers remember as a rite of passage. She describes the anime's protagonist who defeated monsters with grace while sipping tea in a dress, hoping her viewers understand the connection. Karin reveals that she was deeply inspired by the character Lady Setsuna Kuryuin and declares that her dress is her non-negotiable formal attire. The massive audience processes her explanation about the anime origins of her explorer persona. Chat explodes with mockery, calling her crazy and blaming her behavior on the toxic influence of anime. Karin realizes something is wrong when the viewers start claiming she has a level 100 inability to distinguish fiction from reality. 50 minutes into the stream, the viewer count surpasses 51,000 as Karin prepares to conclude the broadcast. Karin announces she will resume her dungeon explorations the next day to prove her conquest to the skeptics in the audience. Karin plans with Mafuyu to end the current stream early, knowing she needs to perform her specialty conquest stream while the internet topic is still hot. She promises the lively audience an elegant conquest seen as soon as possible, while the chat predicts her channel is about to explode in popularity. Karin signs off for the day and tells her viewers that she looks forward to seeing them all again tomorrow. The stream officially ends with the viewers flooding the chat with thanks and messages of support. Karin collapses at her table in exhaustion, eating a simple meal of rice and sprouts while reflecting on how she managed to pull off the broadcast. As she lies in bed, Karin remains determined to show her audience an extra special conquest scene the following day. She vows to do her very best, feeling motivated by the fact that Mafuyu is cheering her on. Karin looks at her phone in bed and finds it heartwarming that so many people responded to her greetings, even if it is just a passing trend. She scrolls through the numerous messages from fans thanking her for the fun stream and promising to watch again tomorrow. Feeling content, Karin prepares to sleep after a successful day of streaming. The next day after school, Karin heads to the dungeon registration counter to sign up for her next exploration. Karin stands at the entrance of the dark dungeon and announces that her registration is finished and she is ready to get started. She begins her live stream by pouring tea from a thermos into a cup, declaring that it is time for an elegant dungeon conquest. Inside the dungeon, a pack of shadow wolves growls and prepares to defend their territory. The live stream chat is instantly filled with excited messages from viewers who have been waiting for the broadcast to begin. Karin starts her first official dungeon strategy stream by preparing a cup of steaming tea. She sips the tea in the middle of the dungeon while the audience mocks the contrast between her drink and the environment. Karin takes a moment to catch her breath and checks the stream comments on the phone strapped to her arm. She glances nervously at the screen as she tries to handle the pressure of the live broadcast. The viewer count on the screen reaches over 30,000 people just a few minutes after the stream began. Karin stares at the specific count of 30,381 concurrent viewers. She reacts with total shock that her audience has grown so massive in such a short amount of time. Karin announces that it is time to get started, realizing that this performance will determine the future of her career. She tells the skeptical viewers that she does not have a traditional weapon and will be fighting with her bare fists. She clarifies that her high-end floating camera was not a luxury purchase, but a lucky second-hand prize from a raffle. Karin walks further into the dungeon while admitting that she is completely broke and has no other professional equipment. The chat labels her a fake rich girl and questions the source of the fancy room they saw the previous day. She happily reports that she has already hit the threshold to monetize her channel and has submitted her application. As she proceeds deeper into the cave, the viewers point out that she is still holding her teacup. Karin is embarrassed to realize that she's been carrying the cup of herbal tea the whole time because she is so nervous. Karin clarifies to her audience that carrying the tea is not an accident, and she intends to sip it while elegantly conquering the dungeon. She explains that her role model from an anime always wore a dress and carried tea, causing a wave of confusion and disbelief in the chat. Karin declares that not spilling a single drop while charging through a dungeon is only natural for her, leaving the viewers convinced she might be unhinged. As she continues deeper into the cave, the audience warns her about the dangers of the upper floors and the risk of causing an accident. A hellhound suddenly appears on a ledge above her, alerting the viewers to the presence of a monster. The hellhound lunges toward her with a growl as the audience panics and tells her to hurry up and drop the tea. Karin lands a powerful punch on the monster while successfully keeping her teacup steady in her other hand. The force of the blow sends the hellhound flying into the rock wall, leaving the stunned viewers at a loss for words. Karin takes a calm sip of her tea and expresses relief that her nerves aren't holding her back from being elegantly unstoppable. The comment section falls into a stunned silence after witnessing her effortless display of power. The chat suddenly explodes with questions about the shockwave and her skills, but Karin remains confused by their intense reaction. Two more hellhounds emerge from the darkness and prepare to attack. Karin insists to the audience that she only used a normal punch as the new pair of monsters charges at her. She prepares to strike again as the two hellhounds leap toward her simultaneously from both sides. Karin delivers a massive dual strike that smashes into both monsters at once. Karin raises her fist in victory as the defeated hellhounds slam into the dungeon walls behind her. The live chat reacts with total disbelief, labeling her an actual monster because her speed and power are too high to track. Karin points out that despite her physical attacks, the liquid inside her teacup has not rippled at all. She mentions having a skill that sends recoil back at the enemy, while viewers speculate if she is using a maxed-out recoilless skill. Karin expresses her gratitude for the lively energy of the stream and the enthusiastic response from the internet audience. The comment section debates whether her violent combat style is truly elegant, with many viewers calling her unhinged. Karin worries that if her vision of an elegant conquest fails to match viewer expectations, her subscriber growth will stall. She decides that simply punching monsters is lacking in elegance points and prepares a different tactic as more hellhounds approach. Karin begins to move with light rhythmic steps as she positions herself against the next pack of monsters. She admits that her hand is getting tired from all the punching as a group of snarling hellhounds lunges toward her. Karin declares it is time for a break and chooses to focus on evasion as the pack of monsters closes in. She performs a series of elegant evasions, weaving through the lunging hellhounds with effortless and graceful movement. Karin continues to dance through the attacks while holding her tea high, keeping the liquid perfectly stable. The viewers are stunned by her speed as the monsters fail to even graze her dress during the encounter. The hellhounds are left completely confused by her maneuvers, which the chat compares to a ballroom dance played at double speed. Karin pummels the hellhounds with a rapid series of strikes while casually asking the viewer's opinion on her tea time conquest. She continues her relentless assault, still holding her teacup, and asks the audience if her performance is elegant. The chat is overwhelmed by the intensity, desperately agreeing that her style is elegant while urging her to focus so they don't have a heart attack. Karin is delighted, believing that her audience has finally recognized the elegance of her combat and evasion tactic. Karin checks her status and notices the concurrent viewer count has climbed to over 71,000 people. She immediately spits out her tea in a massive spray of shock after seeing 70,000 people are currently watching her. Karin moves toward the dungeon's middle levels, unaware that her audience found her tea-spitting incident to be a lapse in refinement. Upon reaching the middle layer, a giant prickly caterpillar monster appears and begins to hover toward her. Karin encounters a horde of needle-shooting insects, and a pack of boars deciding to put her tea aside to handle the situation. She strikes a charging boar, sending the massive creature flying through the air with a single smack. A series of slaps and strikes results in explosions and monsters flying across the dungeon floor as Karin clears the area. Karin whacks a boar directly into a flying insect monster, using the ground creature as a projectile. She continues to bonk the monsters into one another, finding the process to be quite satisfactory. Karin laughs at how efficient and elegant it is to crush the monsters simultaneously, while the chat argues that monsters are not baseballs. She suddenly realizes that killing the monsters too quickly will leave her with no good footage for the stream as more creatures approach. Karin chases the fleeing boars across the dungeon floor, begging them to wait, because she needs better footage for her stream, while the audience laughs at her behavior. News of a young lady clearing the upper layer without taking damage while holding tea spreads across the internet and starts going viral. Commuters on a train watch the livestream on their phones, discussing whether it is the same broadcast everyone is talking about. Ordinary office workers and students react with surprise to the stream, with some questioning if the footage is actually real or just a fake production. The social media trending list shows Yamada Karin at the top spot with over 200,000 posts, followed by topics like black tea and dungeon ball. Karin arrives at the entrance of the boss room in the middle layer while taking another sip of her tea. She stands prepared before the massive doors, maintaining her elegant persona as she gets ready for the upcoming battle. The concurrent viewer count reaches over 73,000 people as Karin thanks her audience for helping the stream spread so widely. The boss of the middle layer, a giant armored skeleton known as the Titanite Bone, looms over Karin with a massive greatsword. The leg-cutting skeleton immediately launches an attack, swinging its enormous blade down toward the young explorer. Karin tightens her fist and prepares to counter the heavy strike while keeping her teacup steady in her other hand. She deflects the giant greatsword with a single punch, creating a loud metallic clink as her fist makes contact with the side of the blade. The viewers are stunned that she successfully parried a boss-level sword strike with her bare hand, wondering if she actually punched the weapon. A viewer admits that his brain and vision cannot keep up with the speed of the fight and asks for more commentary from those who can see the movements. An experienced explorer notes that the standard strategy involves using heavy tanks with shields to block such attacks, concluding that Karin is ignoring all the text. The Titanite Bone continues its relentless attack, as the audience speculates that Karin is intentionally ignoring the standard exploration text. Karin shatters the massive greatsword with a single punch, shocking the viewers who didn't think she could actually destroy the boss weapon. Black liquid begins to ooze from the skeleton's body as the monster starts to undergo an unexpected transformation. The boss armor melts away as its frame rapidly bulks up with thick black muscle mass. The Titanite Bone completes its menacing form change, leaving the chat in a state of total panic, because no one knew this hidden phase existed. Power concentrates in the boss arms as it prepares a heavy strike, but Karin remains completely unfazed by the creature's increasing strength. Karin delivers a devastating counterpunch that shatters the skeleton's muscular torso and instantly ends the fight. The awakened boss crumbles to the ground in pieces before it even has a chance to land. The audience realizes that defeating the boss solo and bare-handed triggered a rare hidden encounter that almost no one has ever documented. Karin picks up a glowing sphere left behind by the boss and casually asks the viewers if they have ever seen such a pretty stone before. The chat is thrown into a frenzy, as they identify the sphere as an extremely rare special condition drop. After showing the rare item to the camera, Karin simply tosses the sphere away, prompting the audience to question her sanity. Karin is genuinely confused when the viewers tell her to keep the item, as she did not think it was something she should take back. She explains that because she is a minor, dungeon laws prevent her from converting drops into cash, so her only option is to throw them away. Karin cheerfully encourages any other explorers who want the rare stone to come and try the challenge themselves, but the viewers insist that her feat is impossible to imitate. The viewers discuss the immense rarity of the drop and calculate its potential cash value as groundbreaking new information. The estimated value of the rare item reaches at least 10 million yen. Viewers suggest that Karin should charge a usage fee for her footage because clip channels will make significant money from her viral content. Karin quickly dismisses the suggestion of charging for her content. She declares that her footage is completely free to use because a true young lady is never stingy, and she wants her elegant figure to be spread far and wide. The audience celebrates her generosity as Karin announces she is heading down into the lower layer of the dungeon. She walks deeper into the dungeon while the chat predicts the stream is becoming a legendary event. Karin officially enters the lower layer. The monsters in this area possess magic power several orders of magnitude higher than those in the middle layers, making it a place where only the top few % of professionals can survive. This dangerous zone is widely known as a demon realm. The stream surpasses 100,000 concurrent viewers just as Karin suddenly stops in her track. Karin stands perfectly still with her back to the camera, causing the audience to wonder if the video feed has frozen. The chat fills with questions about whether there is a bad signal or if Karin is simply refusing to move. The viewers grow increasingly concerned and spam messages asking Karin to respond or move. Karin realizes she has just committed a massive lifelong blunder. Karin realizes she has made a massive mistake that she will regret for the rest of her life. She looks down to see that her thermos is completely empty. Her teacup is also void of any liquid. Karin panics because she drank all her tea without noticing due to how nervous she was feeling. She bows deeply and apologizes to her live audience for her complete lack of preparation. People watching from their phones and computers are baffled by her apology and wonder what she could possibly be sorry for. While pedestrians in the city question her sanity, Karin laments that she should have brought more tea despite it being so expensive lately. The viewers urge her to stop bowing and start paying attention to the dangerous environment of the lower layer. Karin is relieved that the audience doesn't seem angry while the chat wonders how she managed to store a whole thermos in her outfit. She tucks her tea set away and prepares to continue her exploration of the dark cavern. A massive bull-headed monster suddenly emerges from the shadows as the lower layer exploration truly begins. The Minotaur charges forward, and the audience identifies it as a top-tier threat with maximum resistance to physical attack. Instead of dodging, Karin grabs the beast by its horns and begins spinning it around like a helicopter. She uses the creature's own charging momentum to slam it violently against the ground. The defeated Minotaur is sent flying through the air as Karin and the term minicopter take over the top spots on social media trends. Karin reaches the first-floor boss room of the lower layer. The boss monster, a poison smoke chimera, lunges forward. Karin charges in with a powerful strike, leaving the viewers in total disbelief. The chimera is instantly defeated, leaving its remains smoking on the ground. The live audience begins to question their own sanity, wondering if even the top explorers are actually capable of this kind of feat. Viewers discuss how the fight usually goes, noting that the monster's poison fog is supposed to slow down a person's nerves. They explain that the standard procedure is to target the poison generator on its back before the room fills with fog. Karin nonchalantly explains that poison is useless against her because her resistance skill is at its maximum level. She continues deeper into the cave, while the chat reels at the revelation of her maxed-out stats. Meanwhile, news of Karin's exploits with the leg-cutting skeleton goes viral on social media. Famous explorers are sharing the footage, and rumors suggest the country's largest clan is starting to take notice. Karin arrives at the next boss room much faster than anyone expected. The chat notes the incredible speed of her progress and mentions that a group called Black Tiger is currently active. She steps into the circular arena designated as the second-floor boss room of the lower layer. The lower layer Karin is exploring consists of 4 floors with 4 distinct bosses: the Poison Smoke Chimera, the Orc King, the Gigantwolf, and the Iron Crab. Defeating the second boss would mark the halfway point of this section. Upon entering the arena, Karin is confused to find that the boss is nowhere to be seen. The audience speculates whether another explorer got there first, but they point out that the entrance shouldn't have even opened unless the boss was present. Karin senses something coming from above and looks up just as several massive objects crash violently into the floor. The fallen bodies are identified as the corpses of the Orc King and the Gigantwolf. The viewers are horrified to see the floor's bosses already dead. The remains of an iron crab join the pile of bodies as the audience panics over the chaotic situation. Karin stares ahead, wondering what kind of monster is powerful enough to leave a trail of boss-level corpses behind. A massive scaly worm looms over Karin, its mouth open and dripping with fluid as it stares her down. The viewers recognize the creature as a rare monster from the deep layer. They are shocked by its size and fangs, wondering why a dragon without limbs has appeared here. An explanation of the dungeon layers describes the deep layer as an absolute danger zone beyond the lower layer. It is a demon den filled with monsters capable of destroying entire cities. The audience panics and screams for Karin to run immediately. They label the monster an irregular because a creature from the deep layer should not be found in the lower layer. Karin is not afraid; instead her eyes sparkle with excitement at the sight of an unexpectedly strong enemy. She is thrilled by the situation, believing this will make for the best possible footage for her stream. Karin continues to cheer about the irregular enemy while the giant serpent remains poised to strike in the background. The chat reacts with disbelief and calls her an idiot for worrying about footage. They desperately beg her to come to her senses and flee. The worm lunges with a sudden whoosh, its massive jaws snapping shut on the spot where Karin was just standing. Karin has moved so fast that the viewers initially think she was eaten. She calmly asks the monster where it thinks it is trying to eat while standing safely to the side. She tells her audience that she feels capable of defeating a monster of this level. She notes that fleeing pathetically in front of so many people would be unacceptable. Defiant in the face of the massive beast, Karin declares that she could not call herself a young lady if she turned tail and ran. Karin is eager to see what kind of power the monster has while the viewers continue to yell at her not to try gathering info on an irregular for the first time. The worm attacks again with a lightning-fast strike, its dark body blurred as it rushes toward Karin. Karin effortlessly dodges the onslaught with a series of smooth movements. People watching the stream on their phones are stunned to see her avoiding the monster's attacks so easily. Karin continues to dodge the monster's relentless attacks with incredible speed and precision. The massive beast repeatedly slams into the ground where she was just a moment before, unable to land a single hit. The chat is filled with disbelief as they watch her avoid every strike. They believe that attempting to solo a deep layer sub-dragon species is beyond reckless. People in the real world are glued to their phones cheering for Lady Karin to win what has now become a full-blown battle. Karin decides that it is finally time to stop dodging and go on the offensive. She delivers a powerful smash that connects directly with the monster. The creature roars in pain as the force of the blow sends it flying backward, much to the excitement of her viewers. The monster crashes hard into the cavern wall, though Karin observes that the impact felt surprisingly weak. Instead of being crushed, the monster scrapes against the surface and seems to vanish right into the solid rock. Karin stands confused while the audience panics, wondering how the creature could have just disappeared into thin air. She quickly senses that the monster isn't gone but is actually accelerating within the dungeon wall itself. The audience realizes she must have a presence detection skill to track the beast while it is hidden from sight. Suddenly, the monster bursts out from the ceiling with an explosive boom aiming directly for Karin. The creature thuds violently into the floor, but Karin has already moved out of harm's way. Karin finally realizes the monster's trick. It has the ability to swim through the dungeon walls, which explains how it caught her off guard from above earlier. The audience is stunned to realize the monster was lurking inside the dungeon walls. They identify it as a deep layer creature using a magical ability. It is explained that deep layer monsters possess extreme magic power. This allows them to use abilities that go far beyond mere physical enhancement. These magical creatures possess unique skills such as the limbless dragon's wall submersion ability. Viewers notice that the facial wound Karin dealt to the monster is already healing. They are confused and shocked by its rapid recovery. The chat concludes that the monster has abnormal regeneration. They speculate that she might have to find and destroy a core inside its body to win. The audience notes how unfair it is that the beast can hide and recover inside the walls where it cannot be reached. They think finding a core in such a fast, massive body is an unreasonable task. A glowing orb is shown as the viewers complain that the monster's powers are basically cheating. The entire boss room begins to shake violently. Karin realizes an earthquake is starting. Karin acknowledges that this fight will not be easy. The viewers are shocked that the serpent can cause such massive tremors. The audience worries that Karin will not be able to dodge effectively with the ground shaking so much under her feet. The monster continues to swim through the walls. Some viewers tell Karin to run for her life, while others say she has no choice but to finish the snake off now. The chat believes the situation is impossible since the opponent is hiding inside the wall. They assume she would need Sonic-type magic to hit it. Karin suddenly goes quiet and looks downward, leaving the audience confused. Karin remains still on the shaking floor. The panicked viewers ask if she has given up or if she has simply run out of magic power. Karin takes a deep breath to steady herself. She clenches her fist tightly as she prepares her next move. Karin decides the situation is too annoying and slams her fist into the ground with a massive wham. The force of her punch creates a colossal shockwave that tears apart the dungeon floor. The audience is stunned into silence by the sudden explosion of rock and power. The viewers are in disbelief that she destroyed the dungeon itself with her bare fist, comparing her strength to an explosive flame stone. The impact forces the worm out of the safety of the wall, sending it crashing onto the open floor. Karin moves in for the kill, having already seen through the monster's movements and located its weak points, while the chat wonders if she can crush the core. She prepares her hand for a final strike and declares that her victory is certain. She delivers a precise slash that cuts right through the monster's body toward its center. Karin tells the beast it was a good fight and bids it farewell as the encounter ends. She grabs the core and rips it directly out of the monster, causing the creature to let out a final roar of agony. The monster explodes behind her while Karin holds up the captured core looking completely calm. People across the real world watching on their phones and computers are left in total shock that she actually defeated the beast. Karin smiles at her viewers and expresses her relief that she managed to win elegantly without getting her dress dirty. She stands amidst the wreckage of the boss room looking out over the destruction she caused. The stream chat is flooded with messages calling her godlike and unbelievable for her amazing performance in the fight. The chat continues to explode with amazement, noting that she detected the core's location instantly. They urge everyone to spread the word of her heroic solo victory against a deep layer irregular. Karin is stunned by the sheer volume of comments flooding her screen, finding them almost impossible to read. She realizes she still needs to officially declare the subjugation a success, while the audience hails her as the strongest young lady. A sudden thought strikes her, and she wonders if this is the perfect once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to realize a situation she has always dreamed about. She recalls a specific scene from an anime called Dungeon Alive, where a character named Lady Setsuna delivers a cool line right after defeating a powerful and evil monster. In the memory, Lady Setsuna declares that the enemy was powerless before her ultimate fist technique, the Spiral 6 Piercing Star. Karin mimics the pose and tone, calling the irregular a powerful enemy, but claiming its strength was useless against her ultimate technique. She identifies her finishing blow as a move that pierced through the monster's body to finish it without unnecessary destruction. Her viewers go wild with excitement, cheering and raising their fists in celebration of her victory. The scale of her audience continues to grow as word of her exploit spreads to a massive number of people. As the focus shifts back to the city skyline, a large question mark and exclamation point appear, signaling that the story will be continued.